back here working on the new shop project. A 2015 Toyota 4.0 automatic four-wheel drive extra cab long box. It's going to be the new shop truck. I just picked this up, and we're going to do more of kind of a half four-wheel drive Overland camping rig, I think, on this one. It's already got a lift leveling kit. I think we're going to try to lift the front of it a little bit. We get those ordered. Got a winch for it. We're going to try to order. We're going to get a bumper for it. So that's some update stuff install we're going to do. We got some ditch lights for it. We were running these little rough country. They're like a black background, amber and clear. So they're dual, two different colored lights. So that's cool. We got them installed. We got these little Amazon brackets. They're probably 3/16, and they're actually pretty stiff. I mean, for the price off Amazon was like $10, $8 or something like that. Maybe I'll put a link down below if I can figure out what company they are. And of course, the lights were the rough countries. I went ahead and chopped up the wiring harness. Two reasons. One is that the wiring harness that came with those lights, the switch itself, won't fit the Toyota dash. So it's more of a standard style rocker switch, which nothing wrong with it. And that's cool because it's lights up and then it's yellow and then clear, or vice versa. But this doesn't fit the dash, even though we ordered it for the Toyota that I thought was the Toyota switch plugs. So when I got that wiring harness, it had 3 sets of wires. One came off and then went to each light and then went out to the battery. I cut it up for the main reason that I need to run a different switch. I ordered this one from 4Run. This is open at your own risk. 4Run off of Amazon, and they're supposed to switch. And it's supposed to fit the Toyota dash. I think it's a 38mm. And then we've got dual lights. So if I wire this correctly, I can be able to run the ditch lights on amber and the ditch lights on white. So that was kind of the idea here, but they do not recommend running any kind of power through this. This has to be relayed. This little relay box here, I got 40 amp fuses. I bolted ahead and pulled the back of it off, and it looks like it's built pretty decent as far as like the build quality of it. In here, looks like the Toyota has a factory hole. I'm hoping that I don't have to drill this out much. I could use that factory hole. And on the back side, they're going to put a thread insert in here. So I think I got some metric thread inserts. And since this is plastic and it's kind of heavy, I don't know with the vibration of like gravel roads and stuff if this little tab is going to hold. But I have enough room in here that I can drill a hole and then hopefully run a bracket from where the box sits down to either drill a hole, or I'm going to try to catch this factory plug hole right here. That's the plan. See if we can get this thing mounted in here, and hopefully by the end of the day we'll have some ditch lights. So it's dang near like, I mean, as tough as it's gonna get. So it ain't going nowhere. I got the little leg down there just to thought maybe like as it would jump around, it might break these little plastic pieces. So I built a little 1-inch wide piece of aluminum and painted it black. And then where I bolted it through here, it's not anywhere close. Like the wires are literally over here. So that shouldn't be a problem there. And then I ran the nut this way so I could tie our hot lead in it, and it runs down, comes up, punches into our battery here, and that comes into here where we go through our lights here. Basically this is our wiring that I have left over, so that's pre-wired to where I can run it anywhere in the engine compartment or up underneath the truck for a power wire. And then I've got the rest of the 4 signal wires curled up under the kick panel. Then I've got our lights right here, so it's pretty cool. Let's see if they actually work. That's kind of cool, I guess. Damn, see, that's way brighter. But anyway, I'll have to wait till middle of the night and see how badass and bright those really are. We got our switch here. It's just kind of goofy. They come on when the lights are on, but they go off. I guess that's right. I mean, I guess that's what they do, huh? I was just hoping that maybe at night I can see them, you know exactly where it's at, but I guess that's not that big of a deal. All right, a little surprise in the mail today. This, I believe, is my All-Pro second gen Toyota bumper. So I'll go ahead and get this thing opened up. Oh, a couple All-Pro stickers. That's pretty cool. Troll Jesus, not Jesus. I don't know about that one. I'm not a religious man. I've had these before, the old trail gear. Low range off-road, wheelers off-road, and long field. That's pretty cool. It's a couple plates, some hardware, and then like that piece that I think goes on the bumper. Alright, so that thing's heavy. Man, I think they say it's like 70 pounds or something, which with a herniated disc, that's kind of a lot. I throw an 80-pound woolen winch on this thing. My truck's gonna be made like this. Good thing I ordered a set of shocks for the front of it, huh? Anyway, this thing is like freaking badass. Look at this thing. That bolts to the frame, I'm assuming. Holy smokes, this thing's like, man, that's like 3/16 there. That's gotta be quarter. Man. Feel like it's kind of greased or something. Must supposed to be the metal, but we ordered it with the top bar, and then it came with these little lights mounts here for some sort of driving light, which I think a couple maybe 4 or 5 inch round lights would look pretty cool in there. But all right, so I didn't record it, or I'm not sure. People kept stopping by and I heard my GoPro shop, so I don't know if I recorded me actually saying on this. I just hit this with some 80, flipped it over, ran inside with my little 3-inch DA, and kind of red Scotch Brite wherever I could, and then took it outside and used an acid wash, basically an acid wash. Basically it's supposed to wash any kind of oils, any kind of contaminants off the metal, and actually kind of like prep it a little bit, you know, like chemically like put some scratches in it so that the next layer will help stick to it, especially in those places where I really couldn't sand. I'm gonna go ahead and spray this thing with some epoxy, let it sit for an hour, maybe overnight, I'm not sure, and then come back. I'm gonna check the tech sheet on that, and then come back and hit this with probably some Raptor, I think. I'm gonna over thin my Raptor just a little bit so it's thin, so it's not real super chunky, so it's got a nice like smooth texture to it. I think it'll look pretty good. So that's the plan on that. Alright, back here on a Saturday. We end up getting that stuff painted, but everything kind of seems sealed out, and then we're going to come back Monday morning and hit that. But today is Saturday, so it's my day, and we're playing around with a little taco. So we got the winch bumper in, got it buzzed down, epoxied, and then sprayed our bed liner on it. I'm not sure how much I love it, but I think it would look pretty cool in there and be something a little bit different. And then reading the All-Pro directions, I think I got a pretty good idea on how to take this apart. I'm hoping that my quad jack will be enough to pick that thing up and get it close enough to bolt it on. If worse comes to worse, I could throw it on the rack or the bumper on the lift, and or go get the cherry picker, which is next door. So I don't want to drag that thing over here. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to start by taking these bolts here out, popping the grill off, taking these off, and then pulling the lower bumper itself off just to get out of the way, and I can throw it over there, and then I can trim along here. I think we trim along here out, or maybe like there's a piece of welting that goes on there, so I'm not exactly sure. Maybe right in here, and you leave that right there, that 1/4 inch, so that the welting will slip on to this piece of plastic. That is to be, oh, this actually comes off, okay. And then this part here we would cut. I think that this is, I believe this is 2 pieces. So let me kind of tear this thing down a little bit, and then try to figure out what the next step would be once we get that bumper and grill and stuff off this thing. So I just kind of set this in there. This is loose, and this is sitting pretty close. I've got it snapped in underneath the headlights, and then our hole here is really close. So I know that our hole here is really close. I know we're pretty good, and if that goes up, it's going to sit out a little bit. I don't even know if you really need that trim piece, but I think we're going to trim that little edge off we were talking about, and then just slide on there just because it came with it, and it would make it look a little bit nicer. So the problem is we're going to have ugliness here. I can polish that and maybe put a bolt or something in here where our license plate goes. I want to figure out somewhere to put our license plate. I think they make like a cool little winch deal that, like, it's a bracket, or I'll make a bracket that fits in behind, I don't know, block on there, and I can actually pick the bumper up and slid it on there. It's kind of nice having the stud stick out of the frame, so those things kind of slide on there, and then you can just kind of set the bumper on there. So I might have to pull the cable off that winch. I think about 80 pounds. So I knock off almost 20 pounds off. So I don't know. Well, I think between that and a block, if not, I'll go get the guys next door if they're still there. So anyway, I'm going to keep checking on this. I'm going to pull the bumper back, the plastic bumper back off, see if I can't mount the winch, and then trim that piece out and put that trim on the inside of that bumper, and then hopefully button this thing up. Alright, now I'm going to call that good for today. I ended up kind of making a small little notch in our bumper. Sorry, I got to turn the lights off. But to get our wires kind of tucked in up underneath here because our bumper gap's so tight, just made like a real small little half moon. So the wires straight back, and then pretty much cut them up all the way out of the way for, that was popped out, out of harm's way, I should say. I'm wired into our switch where we ran our ditch lights. This is from Run, and it's just a dual element that actually fits in the factory location, so it's kind of cool. Yeah, right there, and it lights up. So I wired that in before, and I just tapped the front lights into those lights. They just all come on at once. I might end up running a wire off the high beam and running up into the relay. That way when I hit the high beams, everything comes on. That's kind of why I have my old Chevy. That's pretty convenient because then you just hit the high beams like when you need more light anyway. And then you just flip the switch when the oncoming cars are coming. And if somebody to turn their headlights off, you hit that thing and they usually turn their lights off really quick. So one thing I noticed was we got a little bit of rubbage here. When I turned all the way with that bumper on there, like I said, it was about 180 pounds on there. So that's interesting. But I do have a set of Bilstein 5150s, and I'm just waiting for the springs. So they should be here this week. I went ahead and ordered a set of springs. So the next video on the truck will probably be putting the springs in there and getting it set a little more level. I already had kind of a rake before, and personally I don't like a rake. I like to sit flat or maybe just a smidge back down in the back. So does have an out leaf. I have to, I'll pull the out leaf out. But I think when I get the new coils, that's a 2-inch spacer lift, and the coils are 2.5 to 3 inch. And I bought the Bilstein 5100 with the Old Man Emo's 886s. I think it's the heavy duty, so they're like 600 pounds instead of like 550 or 560 or something. So it gives you a little bit more spring rate for the front bumper and winch, and then eventually we'll do rock sliders and stuff like that, and some skid pins. So I'll slowly be adding 200 or 300 pounds to this truck overall. Like I say, we're almost about 180. I think I'm going to order a synthetic line, get rid of this and the line. I think it'll be about 20 pounds, so we'll get down to about 160. That'll help with rubbage. So anyway, I'm going to call the video done here. That's the bumper. I didn't film the muffler. I just cut it off, a little different one in there, and a little piece of pipe. Nothing exciting. and then our front driving lights. So if you like this type of stuff, give me a like, a subscribe, comment below, and I'm gonna clean my mess up. And remember, get out there and remember, get out there today and create something, get out there and create something today, even if it sucks.